What is up, guys? My name is Sitka Regan, and we are back on F1 24 Driver Career. This is Season 2, Episode number 7 today, for the British Grand Prix. Coming up. So we are coming off a very strong performance around Austria. Go see that episode first if you haven't seen it yet before you see this one, where we were able to grab a second place in both the sprint and feature race. We gained some points on Verstappen in the title fight in the sprint, but unfortunately for us, he won the feature race, so the weekend ended up being a bit of a wash in the title fight, as Verstappen ended up extending his lead at the top of the standings by 1 point at the end of the weekend. We do have 2 potential upgrades heading into Great Britain. My major ERS upgrade and a minor fuel efficiency upgrade. We look at the development chart. We very nearly drew even with Mercedes as the 5th best team on the grid. And Red Bull were the only team ahead of us to bring a minor upgrade. Verstappen will take a very small 6-point lead into Great Britain in the Drivers' Championship. And surprisingly, we're only 11 points back of Ferrari for second in the Constructors, as the ERS upgrade is successful.
Our new parts have come through without any issue, so they'll be on the car ready for the next race weekend.
And our final upgrade unfortunately fails. Let's head to qualifying.
Welcome along, everybody, to a venue that was built for speed. Once an airfield, now one of the finest racetracks in the world. It's qualifying day here at Silverstone for the British Grand Prix.
Right, the car's ready. Let's get it out there.
Heading out onto my final run of Q1. My first run was a little bit messy, only good enough for 9th at the moment. We're definitely going to need to find an improvement to see our way through into Q2. Catching a little bit of traffic between turn 3 and 4. Sargent does manage to get out of the way without costing me any time, which is actually saying a lot considering the AI in this game are not the best at getting out of the way. I used battery down the Wellington Straight towards Brooklands. We're purple through Sector 1. Into Luffield, I am definitely noticing the effect of the ERS upgrade, as that upgrade will definitely come in handy for the race if the weather forecasts can be trusted, as it is supposed to be heavy rain throughout the entire length of the race tomorrow. So I am running higher wings than I normally would around Silverstone, so we're going to need all the help we can get with straight line speed, and it's very important that I qualify well, as I have a decent run through Maggots and Beckett's. A little bit cautious, just need to put in a good enough lap to see myself through into Q2 as I burn the rest of the battery down the Hangar Straight. Not the best run into Stowe, as I was looking ahead to the traffic a little bit. And we are going to catch the back of Bottas at a very inopportune time through Club and Vale. We have a snap oversteer in the dirty air, but this lap should be plenty good enough to see us through. And it is good enough to see us through in 4th. Our teammate makes a good show of it, seeing himself through into Q2 and 10th. And the home fans will be happy to see Norris topping the session just ahead of Verstappen. And no real surprise exits in Q1 with Ocon, Bottas, Gasly, Sainz, and Sargent all knocked out early. So both drivers that got in my way in Q1, Bottas and Sargent, see themselves knocked out early in Q1. And this was my best lap of Q2. It was actually the first lap I did. I went straight out on a new set of tires. The weather predicted there might be a chance for rain, and I didn't want to take the chance of getting caught out. It didn't end up raining at all during qualifying. It's been an okay lap so far as we head down the Wellington Straight. We are a bit slow in a straight line, as I do have a wet weather setup on, as it's supposed to rain for the entire race tomorrow. We run a little bit wide through Luffield. I made the car a little more stable, also to deal with the rain, which is a bit unfortunate as I find this track a lot more fun in dry conditions. A lot like the last race in Austria, but unlike in Austria where it was mixed conditions, where it went from wet to dry to wet to dry. Tomorrow's race is forecasted to be heavy rain throughout, as I have run a little bit wide out of Maggots and Beckett's and through Chapel. That part of the track always gives me a little bit of trouble, especially when I have the car set up to be more stable and less responsive. Heading into my favorite corner on the track, Stowe, a light braking and then just chucking the car into the corner. And heading through the final corners, Alonso and the Aston Martin has set the fastest lap. This lap has felt pretty good so far. Let's see where we end up. It's first for the moment, but there are still quick drivers behind. But it is good enough to easily see us through into Q3, topping the session. A tenth ahead of Alonso, 2 tenths ahead of Norris. Unfortunately, our teammate is knocked out in 12th, along with Ricciardo, Stroll, Albon, and Zhou. Ricciardo had a very good qualifying session though, finishing up in 11th.
All clear the garage, please. Car's ready to leave.
Heading into my final run in Q3, I really want to keep that momentum going that I got in Q2. Qualifying well is going to be very important, as I don't think there's going to be a lot of opportunities to pass if it's going to be raining for the entire race. This run was on a new set of tires. I had 2 new sets going into Q3, and I didn't bother saving one like I normally would, especially around this track. Because of the rain, we're not going to get an opportunity to use that set of softs tomorrow, as I have a little bit of a lockup on the front right, and that pushes me a little bit wide through Luffield. Still nearly a tenth up as we head down the old pit straight towards Copse. Hopefully our teammate can fight his way forward up into the points tomorrow. I could really use the help in the constructors, as I feel like I'm battling Ferrari almost by myself. As we head towards Maggots and Beckett's, I need a clean run through here, able to carry the speed pretty well, and a much better run on the exit as I find a lot of time. Although I did have a big slide on the exit of Beckett's on my first lap, so it's hard to tell how much time I actually gained. And my battery management has been much better on this lap, as I very nearly disallow the lap running wide through Stowe, maximizing the corner, as I do have a smooth run through the Club and Vale complex to the line. And that's good enough for a provisional pole. Did we do enough?
Yes! Excellent lap. We're all very, very pleased with that one. Nice work. Come on, I'll see you back in the pits.
Goodbye for now then, but really we're just getting started. Make sure to join us again for Lights Out tomorrow.
So it is good enough to put us on pole position for the British Grand Prix. Norris will start beside us on the front row, and Verstappen will start just behind us on the second row next to Alonso. Getting a good start is going to be key. Let's head to the grid.
Welcome to not only the home of British motorsport, but also the birthplace of the Formula One World Championship. It's race day here at Silverstone, a classic on the calendar, and it's time for the British Grand Prix. Silverstone circuit then is 3.6 miles long, has a total of 18 corners, and of course is no stranger to the rain. There won't be any DRS available in these conditions, but the Wellington and Hangar straights are still good opportunities to tuck into the slipstream and make a pass. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. In pole position, it's Haas, edging out Lando Norris, who'll start from P2. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Fernando Alonso, Tsunoda, Russell, Hamilton, Leclerc, Oscar Piastri, Perez, Ricciardo, Hülkenberg, Stroll, Zhou, Ocon, Bottas, Gasly, Sainz, Sargent, and Alex Albon picks up the last spot on the grid. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today.
So not much strategy projected for the race today, as it's predicted to be a 0 stop, full wets the entire race, as the weatherman is saying there's going to be no let up in the rain today. Getting a good start and staying out of trouble early is going to be key to this race, and adapting to the conditions, as I have not driven this track with the full wet tires on this game at all.
Okay, so our system checks are good. We need to stay in formation and start bringing the car up to temperature, please. Get some load into the tyres and work the brakes. We want them nice and warm by the end of this lap.
So my race pace is going to be a complete unknown to me starting out. Battery usage is going to be very important, as there's no DRS.
Decent parking. Let's try and get a good launch as the lights go out. Okay, so that's the rest of the grid forming up now. Be patient and watch for those lights.
And the 5 red lights. In a very wet British Grand Prix. is underway as we get a little bit of wheel spin off the start. Trying to short shift to find the traction. Looks like Norris got off to a slower start than us as Verstappen has made his way past the McLaren driver and improved up into second. And our other rival, Tsunoda in the Ferrari, has moved up from fifth all the way up to third. And Norris has fallen from second all the way down to fifth. So a really poor getaway for the McLaren driver as Verstappen is starting to put us under pressure as I slide my way through turn 5. I'm gonna have to use some battery down the Wellington Straight to keep the aggressive Red Bull behind as I'm still struggling a little bit to find the limit of the grip right now on these extreme wet tires. Really sliding around trying to get on the power on the exit of Luffield. Passing is definitely gonna be at a premium today, as it's so easy to lock a tire and slide deep into the corner, so being aggressive is going to have to be very calculated as I have a ton of understeer through Copse, allowing Verstappen to get very close to me again. Going through Maggots and Beckett's, I'm being very cautious, but still sliding around quite badly through these high-speed corners, nearly for losing the back end twice, as Verstappen closes in very tight down the hangar straight. He thinks about a move to the outside, but I use quite a bit of battery to keep him behind. I'm gonna have to be very cognizant of keeping enough battery down the straights to keep the faster Red Bull behind, at least until I can figure out how this car is gonna behave, as the car feels very nervous through the corners right now, and I'm having a lot of trouble getting the power down as I have another slide on the exit of the final corner, and have a big moment with the rear end fishtailing out of turn 5. That's going to lose me time all the way down the Wellington Straight, and Verstappen's going to try to take advantage as we go into Brooklyn side by side. This has been Verstappen's best run on me. He decides to back out of it before Luffield.
Heavy rain will be with us for a while now.
And Verstappen's going to take another run on us down the Wellington Straight into Brooklands. This time, he's trying around the outside, which will give him the inside for Luffield. I'm gonna have to try to hang it around the outside, have a bit of a slide, just fighting the car all the way through the right-hander. We're also a little bit light on fuel. I took a lot out at the start, but I figured I'd be saving a lot more than I have been so far in this race. So we come to the end of lap 6, everybody pretty much holding station for the moment, but Tsunoda has a huge lockup into the Vale chicane, and that's gonna give Alonso and the Aston Martin an opportunity to climb up onto the podium. And he does make his way through up into third as my teammate and Stroll go side by side through turn 1. Hulkenberg trying to make his way forward. It's been a very difficult race to get any moves done as they remain side by side through turn 4. Heck of a battle between these two drivers, but my teammate is struggling for grip through turn 5, a lot like myself, and that gives Stroll the advantage. Heading down the hangar straight towards Stowe. Verstappen's a little bit further back this lap, giving me the opportunity to lift and coast and save a little bit of fuel, but Verstappen's gone off behind, so Verstappen's made a big mistake, dropped out of second place. So as we head into Stowe, it looks like Verstappen locks up and goes straight on, tries to rejoin and makes contact with one of the Mercedes drivers. There's carbon fiber flying everywhere, all over the track, and Verstappen is pulling off to the side. So Verstappen is going to retire either with mechanical failure of some kind that caused the incident or with terminal damage from when he tried to rejoin. I'm not quite sure, but this gives us the opportunity to take over the lead in the drivers as Alonso's going to try to get aggressive up our inside through turn 1. We do manage to fend him off.
No tyre concerns at the moment, just focus on the driving.
So with Verstappen's retirement, that's promoted Ricciardo up into the points in 10th as he defends hard from Stroll through Stowe. The two go side by side as Stroll manages to hold the outside line in the far superior Aston Martin car, and Stroll does manage to take the position up into 10th. And on lap 10, the rain has seemingly increased as I head through Copse. I'm still trying to manage my fuel, but I'm just not recouping the fuel that I thought I would. The fuel burn is definitely higher than I expected for this race, and I can only lift and coast so much with Alonso putting the pressure on. In second, I have to admit I was fully expecting a safety car with a race that was full wets the entire distance. And on the very next lap, Alonso is going to try to go around the outside through Village. we manage to push him wide, and that gives Tsunoda an opportunity. As the predator becomes the prey, Tsunoda tries to go around the outside of Alonso through turn 4. Alonso manages to push him wide through turn 5, but Tsunoda's hanging in, and the battle for second heats up down the Wellington Straight, and Tsunoda makes his way through into Brooklands, as Norris is attacking Alonso for third now, as Alonso is in danger of losing 2 positions with Norris going up the inside through Luffield. Alonso has managed to hang it around the outside as they go side by side down the old pit straight. And Tsunoda, having just gotten past Alonso, is also challenging us heading down towards Copse, but he backs out of it, consolidating his position in second, and Alonso has managed to fend off Norris and managed to stay in the final podium position. So as we head on lap 12, going through turn 4, we get a VSC.
Objective, focus on your VSC Delta instead. Okay, caution, caution, virtual safety car is out, reduce speed and maintain a positive Delta on your dash.
And Tsunoda goes around the outside, off the track, under a virtual safety car. What the hell is going on here? As I'm gonna try to repass him under virtual safety car. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought we weren't supposed to pass anybody under yellows or safety cars. And I do manage to get back through for the moment, but controversy, as now my Delta is slowing me way down.
Virtual safety car is ending. Maintain your pace until we get the green flags. VSC ending.
So Tsunoda passes me again before the green flag comes out, as I still had a Delta. So controversy again is going to mar this race, as Alonso closes right up to the back of me. As at this point I admit I was really flustered, having lost the lead of the race to my arch rival. The red mist was descending as I have a huge slide through Stowe.
It's going to be lightening up over the next 10 to 15 minutes or so. You should start finding more grip as we clear the standing water. Okay, slow down, slow down. Your delta's negative, which means you're going too fast. Reduce your pace.
As we have another virtual safety car deployed. This time, the virtual safety car went off without a hitch, no drama.
Maintain your pace until we get the green flags. VSC ending. Wait for the green.
Alonso didn't cheat and bolt past under safety car conditions, and I went back and looked through the replay. I still have no idea why either one of those virtual safety cars were deployed, as Alonso tries to take advantage of me going deep into Brooklands, going around the outside of Luffield, and managed to hold on to second place and fend off Alonso.
Tire condition still looking good.
As Norris tries to take advantage of Alonso going wide through Luffield, and Norris has managed to get past the Aston Martin and move up onto the podium. And at this point I was still incredibly frustrated and driving angry, which is not a good way for me to drive in the wet.
That's a red flag, red flag. Keep the delta positive and let's have you straight to the pit lane, please.
And this is what brought out the red flag. As Ocon goes through Copse, he loses the back end, makes contact with his teammate, breaking his front wing, as Bottas slams into the broadside of Ocon, the Kick Sauber driver having no time to react. As we watch from his point of view, Ocon will lose the back end, hit his teammate, and then spin sideways right in front of Bottas, collecting the Kick Sauber driver and shearing his front wheel off. It looks like Ocon did manage to get going again, but he'll have massive side pod damage.
Good opportunity to get this start spot on. Come on. And some information on Leclerc. Okay, they're slowing down. It seems like there's some kind of problem with their car.
So on the restart, Tsunoda gets a good jump, managing to maintain the lead. Alonso gets a better jump off the line and retakes third from Norris. And off the restart, Ricciardo, who's in 10th, trying to go up the inside of Piastri in the second McLaren through turn 4. As they are side by side through turn 5, with Piastri running really wide onto the curb. Piastri with the advantage down the Wellington Straight, retakes 9th. Our teammate is trying to go around the outside of Ricciardo through Brooklands. He'll have the inside line through Luffield on the RB, as Hulkenberg tries to make his way up into the points, and Hulkenberg is able to finish off the move on the exit of Luffield.
Okay, mate, we're not using as much fuel as we predicted, which means we've got extra performance in hand, so let's push, and use it all up.
As we give Alonso a squeeze down the Wellington Straight, we manage to fend him off through Brooklands, as Mark tells us that we are good on fuel now, even though we are in the negative, and regaining and saving fuel has not been easy throughout this entire race for me, as Tsunoda is just disappearing into the distance in that Ferrari. And with Leclerc's mechanical issues seemingly still not resolved, Piastri is trying to go around the outside. Leclerc manages to push Piastri wide through Stowe, holding on to 8th, but definitely struggling for pace in comparison to his teammate who is dominating this race at the moment, as I am beginning to struggle on these tires as the rain has definitely lightened up as we defend from Alonso through Village. We managed to keep him behind us through turn 4, but I have a massive slide on the exit curb of the loop, very nearly losing the car, and that's going to cost me time all the way down the Wellington straight. I'm going to have to burn a lot of battery, moving to the inside of the track, try to cool these tires down a little bit, as I think it's definitely time for the intermediate tires now. As my teammate is pulling out to attack Piastri through Stowe, they go side by side through turn 15, with Hülkenberg managing to hold it around the outside through the high-speed corner, and finishing off the move into the Vale chicane. Hülkenberg's up into 9th, definitely one of his strongest races of the season, as my teammate is again on the attack a lap later, going up the inside of Leclerc into Stowe. Hülkenberg on a late race charge. This time he's able to finish off the move before the chicane, with 5 laps left, trying to cool off the tires. Norris trying to go to the inside of Alonso into Brooklands. Alonso trying to fight his way back up the inside through Luffield. The battle for 3rd heating up as we head into the final few laps. This battling is definitely good for me, as it'll help me create a gap to 3rd place, as Norris and Alonso go side by side through Copse, nearly making contact. Norris comes out on top, up into 3rd. And on lap 23, Norris is going to try to go around the outside through turn 1, but he runs into the back of me, and that gives Alonso a clean run back through. Alonso moves back up into 3rd. Hamilton's trying to make his way past Norris as well, as Hamilton and Norris battle side by side through Village. It looks like Norris was able to fend him off and maintain 4th. As we head towards the Vale chicane, Alonso has a big lockup and goes deep, allowing Norris back up into 3rd. Hamilton makes his way through, up into 4th, and Alonso is dropped all the way down to 5th with that mistake. And on the penultimate lap, Norris is going to try to make a move on us down the Wellington straight. We're side by side through Brooklands. We leave him the room. Norris edges just ahead, but we have the inside through Luffield. We're just able to edge back in front of Norris, holding on to 2nd, but we are critical on fuel as we are 0.8 down with 1.5 laps left to run, and with Norris putting us under constant pressure.
Okay, this is your final lap of the race.
It's not giving me many opportunities to try to save enough fuel to get to the end, as we use some battery to fend off Norris through the first couple turns, and I have to save enough battery to use down the Wellington and Hangar straights to make sure that I can stay ahead of the McLaren. So this race that has been full of controversy and stress for me as a driver is definitely not going to be any easier on the final lap, as Norris makes a dive around the outside through Brooklands but backs out of it, and that move made me look up for just a moment and has thrown off my line into Luffield. But as we go through Copse, it's not Norris making a move on me, but Hamilton making a surprise move on everybody, trying to go around the outside into Maggots and Beckett's on Norris, and he manages to pull off the move up into 3rd, and somehow it's Hamilton on the final lap that has moved his way onto the podium. As I dump the rest of my battery down the Hangar straight, Tsunoda crosses the finish line in a controversial win. I am hoping and praying the fuel is going to hold out until the end. Hamilton just holding, waiting for me to make a mistake as I go deep into the Vale chicane. And as I try to accelerate through the final corner, I am into low fuel mode now. Hamilton disappears off the track to my left and I cross the line. Where did we finish? As I watch the replay at the end, I am just able to hold on to 2nd. Norris comes through for 3rd.
Takes the checkered flag and wins.
You always look back at a race like this and think, if I'd just made that mistake there or looked up here, there would have been contact. And every one of those overtakes is a moment where you have to absolutely nail it, perfect it, and that's exactly what they're able to do today. Great stuff indeed.
Here come our winners now, a thrilling race and a tremendous effort by Ferrari. Their history is well known, so it's no surprise to fans the world over to see them come out on top once again.
So I managed to just grab second. Norris comes through and takes third off of Hamilton in the final few feet down the final straight. The Hamilton straight, ironically, as Hamilton went off into the gravel. I still don't know what position Hamilton officially finished the race in. He crossed the line well off the track in the dirt as I completely ran out of fuel just before the finish line. My only thought is Hamilton had to take evasive action as my car was very slow through the final corner with no fuel, and Hamilton is awarded fourth place. He'll be incredibly frustrated. Heading through the final corner, he seemed to have a podium locked up before he was forced to dive off into the gravel. I assume that's the FIA ruling, as Alonso and Perez behind Hamilton will be arguing that he finished the race well off the track and they should be promoted. Another funny ruling is Bottas picked up a 5-second penalty for causing a collision when it was Ocon that absolutely collected the Kick Sauber driver through cops. But on a positive note, I have taken the lead in the Drivers' Championship by 12 points over Max Verstappen with his retirement early in this very controversial race. And Ferrari gained 6 points on us in the battle for second in the Constructors. Hülkenberg helping to limit the damage as he outdueled Leclerc for 8th in the race today. As I take the lead over Verstappen in our rivalry, still leading Tsunoda in our rivalry despite him finishing ahead of me and winning today's race with his controversial virtual safety car overtake. I will fully admit that Tsunoda probably did deserve to win the race as he did have superior pace to me, but he should have picked up a penalty for overtaking in safety car conditions. Anyway, that's the last I'm going to whine about that, as we have a 6-point advantage over Hülkenberg in the recognition. I don't want to take anything away from Hülkenberg as he had a very good race, making his way up into 8th from where he started in 12th in very challenging, very wet conditions today. Definitely his best race of the season, and there must be a glitch in the specialists because I did go 4 sessions without damaging my car. Don't remember if I perfected the race strategy program. I thought I did, but I certainly finished 4 sessions without damaging my car, so I'm not sure why I failed the manufacturing expert. So we are going to head in to the Belgian Grand Prix around Spa as the leader in the Drivers' Championship. Hopefully Hülkenberg can continue his strong form and we can try to catch Ferrari for second in the Constructors as well. Anyway, guys, that's all I got for this week. I'll see you next week in Belgium. Goodbye.